This is a very special treat for us today. We want to welcome the University of Maine Orono Symphonic Band. Give them a warm welcome, please, from Matthew. This is some of my favorite kind of guests. They make wonderful presentations, and I don't have to stay at the microphone the whole time. So I would like to turn the microphone over right now to Mr. Garrett Artman, the MC.
Good afternoon. My name is Garrett, and the Symphonic Band is a group of 50 to 60 members chosen from students all around campus. And we pick these students by going through an audition process. We are the only touring band on campus, and we perform throughout the state and even New England. The band will be opening with a huge fanfare. If you don't know what a fanfare is, I guess a common accepted definition is a big flourish of brass and a lot of trumpets, but I still think the tubas are cooler than the trumpets. The piece we will be performing for you is called Heroic Fanfare. Here is Christopher White and the University of Maine Symphonic Band. Pretty cool, huh? Thomas Knox, the composer of our next piece, attended the University of Illinois and was later accepted as a member of the United States Marine Band in 1961. He was appointed the chief composer and arranger of the Marine Band until his retirement in 1985. The piece called God of Our Fathers, which was written for the inauguration of President Ronald Reagan, was premiered by the Marine Band in 1981. The whole piece is based on a very familiar hymn tune that some would now regard as our nation's hymn. Here it is, God of Our Fathers.
Good afternoon, folks. Welcome. Such a wonderful audience today. We're going to take a moment and introduce to you the different instruments within the band and the people who play the instruments. First, I'd like to let you know that being in a band like this is not something that just music majors can do. We have people from all over campus in our band, and right now I'd like to show you first music majors. Raise your hand in the band, and then non-music majors, raise your hand. We have people from all over campus within our band. Music is a lifelong activity. You can take it with you from this building to the high school to college and play or in your community. It's something that you can be part of and be proud of, and it's a lot of fun to make music with other people. I have a great time making music with these folks. This is our 8th concert in 2.5 days, and we're just having a great time. So, play your instrument, practice, and you can be in a band like this. This band is made up of a whole bunch of different instruments. We're going to start with the woodwind family first. We have the flutes and piccolo. Hold the instruments up. Piccolo here, the smallest and highest, and then flutes over here, which are the lower flute sound. Then in the woodwind family, going on, we have our clarinet section. Right here we have soprano clarinets, the higher clarinets. Then we have the bass clarinet. And then we have the contrabass clarinet, the lowest of the family. Yeah, wow. And then over here in the woodwind family, we have the double reed instruments. Double reed instruments make a sound with 2 pieces of wood vibrating against one another. We have the oboes, right here. Then we have the English horn, which is slightly longer and lower sounding than the oboe. And then we have the bassoon. Wow. Bassoon player gets applause. Yes. Play bassoon. We need more bassoon players in this world. All of you go home and tell your mom and dad you want a bassoon. Love to have you. Then, rounding out the woodwind family, we have our saxophone family over here. We have the alto saxophones. We have the tenor saxophones. And then we have the bari saxophone, which is the lowest of the instruments. And then we also have our friend the soprano saxophone over here that we'll be using in our last song today. So that's the highest member of the saxophone family. Moving on. Now, this is what the woodwinds sound like all together. Sound like all together. Lots of excitement. The next family I want to introduce you to is called the brass family. And we're going to start with the French horn, right here in the middle. Lots and lots of coiled tubing. It's kind of a mellow sound. This instrument has the largest range of all the brass instruments, from the very lowest to the very highs, and they play with a wonderful, rich sound. Then we have the trumpets, the highest member of the brass family, over here. And also in the trumpet section, we have a couple of other instruments that are related to trumpets called flugelhorns, which you'll hear in the last song we played today as well. They're kind of a mellower sound, somewhere in between a French horn and a trumpet. Then going over here, we have our low brass section. We have our trombone. These are our tenor trombones right here. And then we have our bass trombones right there. Nice low notes. Going on next to them, we have our euphoniums. Euphoniums, they look like baby tubas, but they sound better. Okay? They have a nice, soaring, wonderful sound. Then in the back. I will pay for that later. And then in the back row, we have our tubas. Something back there. Here we go. This is what the brass section sounds like all together. Our brass playing all together. 357. 310. That's the brass section. Now the last section, and I save it for last because it's really the best section in the whole group, is the percussion section. Over here we have some timpani. And then over here, a whole assortment of different sounds. We have xylophones, marimbas, tom-toms, cymbals, conga drums, tam-tam, bass drum, snare drum. They're all there to make different sounds for all our different pieces. So we're now going to hear what the percussion section sounds like. Starting at 357, 357. And that's the percussion section. We're now going to play a piece of music we took that from, part of it for you. The title of the piece is called Vesuvius. And it's a piece of music that is written to paint a picture. And it's to paint the picture of the last days of Pompeii, where Mount Vesuvius blew up and destroyed an entire village. In the song, you're going to hear the quiet, peaceful melody of the people just minding their business and being around town. And then you're going to hear the angry sounds of the volcano coming in. And eventually, you'll hear the melody of the people and the melody of the volcano mixing, and then the melody of the volcano taking over and ending the piece. So see if you can listen for those various things as we play a portion of Vesuvius for you.
The symphonic band holds a solo competition every year, and the winning band member of this competition performs his or her piece on tour with the band. This year's winner is Shannon Buccieri. She's a flute performance major from Lebanon, Maine, and the piece she will be performing with us is Concertino for Flute and Wind Ensemble. Without any further ado, here is Shannon Buccieri and Concertino for Wind and Flute Ensemble. Now the band's going to play a couple of marches for you. When I say march, I'm sure a lot of you are thinking the marching band or like a military march or something like that. But what a lot of people don't know is that a march started out as a dance form way back in the day. The march we're going to perform was written back in the 1500s by William Byrd. It's called the Earl of Oxford March. And what the band is going to try to do is we're going to try to simulate a band really far away. So we're going to start out real quiet, and as the piece continues, it's going to get louder and louder until the very end. So here is the Earl of Oxford March. John Philip Sousa finished the following march we're about to perform. He wrote this piece in 1930, and after his death in 1932, it was John Philip Sousa's family that was left with taking care of all of his stuff in his house, which included all of his music. And there was a lot of music. There were over 20,000 sheets of paper just sitting in all of his rooms in his house, and so they had to try and rearrange them and stuff them back and send them off to the Library of Congress. Well, this one march, they couldn't find the title page, so they mismatched it. And it wasn't until many years later that they finally figured out their mistake. Somebody found the title page, but it still had no title. It was called the Untitled March after that. And it will be conducted by Andrew McLaughlin of Bradford, Maine, a junior music education major. Our final march will be here.
My arm hurts. I've been conducting 7 concerts. I can't go on. more free. Find somebody.
You know, I warned you about eating that egg from young late at night. Were you tickling people again, you tickle monster? Well, you know, when we got in here, I heard legend of this young man. His name was Jordan Williams, and I think he'd really like to conduct this next piece.
Folks, it's been a great audience today. We have two more songs we're going to play for you before we end today. And also before we end, we'd like to thank Donald Johnson and the principal for having us here. It's so nice to be able to go through the state and be able to share our music with you. The reason we practice and play is so that we can perform for people, and we can't perform if we don't have an audience. So we appreciate so much that you let us into your school today. The next song we're going to do for you is called Dance Zone Number 2. It's based on a Mexican folk song, and it's arranged with all the rhythms and sounds that go along with what you would expect from Latin America. We have Latin American instruments in the percussion section and rhythms throughout the ensemble that will remind you of being south of the border. So, we're going to play that song next. It's kind of a long one with a little lull in between. Don't get tricked into applauding. We will go on. And then when that's over, we're going to play our school song, the Stein song, and that will signal the end of our assembly. Once again, you've been a great audience today. Have a wonderful April vacation. Thank you, folks.
That was amazing. Thank you all very much for making the long trip down to this corner of Maine. Appreciate it, though your soloist evidently knew where she was going. That concludes our performance for today. And again, I want to thank you very much for coming. I hope you enjoy the rest of your tour. I understand you have a few more places to go. Thank you. Boys and girls, before we leave our regular assembly time, we do have a few quick announcements. I just want to start with a thank you to a substitute that we've had here for 6 weeks. Is Mrs. Thorner somewhere here in the audience? Alexis has done a fabulous job filling in for our regular guidance counselor. She's been here as a long-term sub this year. So Alexis, come on up and we have a little card for you. We really appreciate this. We wish you well. And Mrs. McDonald Johnson has our usual end of the week awards.
All right, our golden group this week, lots of nominations. First grade was nominated. Fourth Packard was nominated. 7A, 7B, 8A, 8B. Our runner-up is multi-age. And this week's golden group is second grade.
Thank you, community members, for coming out and supporting our special event today, too. That concludes our assembly for today, and it concludes for school for a week. Remember, next week is April vacation.